So as a licensed real estate professional, I'm very hesitant to give out information about homeowners insurance, flood insurance from a liability standpoint. So I like to refer people to another licensed professional in industry, such as Bear Norris with Norris Insurance Agency.
CJ, it's great being here, and thank you. I look forward to answering some of the most common insurance questions that most of your clients will have.
One of the most common questions that we hear is, isn't flood insurance included in my regular homeowner's policy?
No, especially after Katrina, we've tried to make a concerted effort as an industry to make sure that everybody understands that, to my knowledge, there's not a single home insurance policy out there in the state of Louisiana, Texas, or Mississippi that also includes flood insurance. Flood insurance is always a separate coverage that is only covered by FEMA. And so what happens is you're talking to your insurance agent, you start talking about flood insurance, and they will write you a flood insurance policy through a company that will administer the paperwork. So many times the logo might say Liberty Mutual, Travelers, something State Farm, something like that. But it's all really FEMA, and it's all the same price regardless of what agent or what company you go through.
Okay. Do you need flood insurance if you're not in a high hazard area?
In my opinion, definitely yes. Especially after the recent floods in Houston and in Baton Rouge. What happens is when you're buying a new house, the terminology a lot of people use, and it's just kind of more of a slang, is you're not in a flood zone. That terminology is actually incorrect. Every house is in a flood zone. What happens is with your loan, certain areas of the city are in high hazard zones. And so the mortgage companies, they'll just require flood insurance for those loans, while other loans they will not. However, to say that you're in a flood zone or you're not in a flood zone, that's completely incorrect.
Okay.
You are always in a flood zone. And just as a statistic, the flood that hit Baton Rouge in 2016, 85% of the houses that flooded were not in a required high hazard flood zone. They were in lower hazard flood zones, but still obviously flooded.
Right.
It was not a good thing, because the majority of those people did not have flood insurance.
85%, that is a very sobering statistic.
It's a scary statistic.
It is. So can you tell us how your personal property is covered with flood insurance?
If you are talking about a loan, so let's say you're talking to your mortgage broker, which is usually where a lot of this comes into play. Let's first come into play obviously with the realtor, but when you start talking numbers and you're trying to figure out your mortgage and your payments and your interest and all that stuff, it really comes into play.
Okay.
So what'll happen most of the time is, as a result of just going through the mortgage process, everybody's trying to keep their payment down the lowest. So your first quote you get from an insurance agent will normally only cover the building. It usually does not cover the contents. And so when you look at that, you need to see, okay, am I okay with just covering the building? Which some people are, and that's great, but at least know what you're looking at. And so then what you'll do is you'll see the rate, and then you go back to the insurance agent and you say, well, I would like some protection perhaps, or if you do, let's kind of jump this up a little bit and let's start playing with the numbers. But at least it gives you a base rate. So no, contents is not covered automatically, you have to add it.
Okay, that's great information. And we'll be back really soon with some more great insurance information for all of our clients.